I will eventually get used to that. Hey everybody, I'm Hank B.
Josh T.
And we are R2cents Media. So this is our part 2 of our review on the House of Targaryen. For Game of Thrones. It's on HBO Max. 10 episodes so far. 172 years before the birth of Daenerys Targaryen. And I don't know what gang signs he's throwing, but I'm not affiliated with anything he's saying. So, if you saw our part 1, thank you for watching it. We are not going to be going over the same topic we were talking about in part 1. For our part 2, we are going to actually be talking about elements of the show that we like, or some elements that we would like to see done more of, but we're going to be talking about actual things from the show. So
we bagged pretty hard on it.
We did on the first one. I think our bagging in the initial part was fair.
It was.
Okay. So
get the steam out before you can start talking positive.
So let's start with the beginning of the House Targaryen. The very first episode, you have the intro, which I felt was off. But then they fixed it by the second one because I was missing the way they had the clockwork thing working for the. So I was glad they brought that back and brought that in. I'm like that really brought home that this was a Game of Thrones show. Yeah. Because it was missing from the first one, I felt. And because I legit, after watching the first episode, went back and went to Game of Thrones and go, what the hell? Because I thought something was off. But then as I watched the first episode again, I was like, okay. Yeah, it's about the right pacing on the character talking and stuff. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things you liked in the show?
The effects. The effects were good. Like the way that they were portraying the characters good. I thought they chose very well all the different characters and where they positioned them and stuff. I mean, the king, the princess, and the brother, and you could just get a feeling these characters are gonna amount to something big later on in the story. And I just think that each character portrayed their demeanor of their acting for their characters really well. And
while I don't disagree with that, my problem is that the rest of the actors just don't toe the line. Like when you had original Game of Thrones, man, I felt like you could have just taken a handful of any of those actors. Like they did it in future seasons where you had Arya and the Hound off on their missions and people cared. On this one, if it's not for those 3 characters, you're like, do any of these characters really have the charisma or ability to carry the show?
It's true.
Maybe it's just because it's a new group, but even his small council, yes, we're never going to get a small council like Game of Thrones. That was an awesome casting group. Mm-hmm. You got the Spider, you got this, the Littlefinger, and you had the Meister. They were a great trio. Mm-hmm. You don't have that same trio with this show, which is sad because I don't know if it's maybe because of Game of Thrones that I'm looking for it in this. It's just
it seems like something that they tried to do in this one.
Yeah, the supporting characters
didn't quite get it
as well as there.
Yeah, I mean it might do with the writing, but
well, again, it also could be something they're building up to because they have alluded to other characters being more like that, like the guy that's out in the gardener, gardener guy with the cane. So maybe they're trying to bring them in, which would be interesting to see.
Could be. I did like the fact that more dragons. You see them right away. Yeah. And it kind of gets you interested, dragon! I love dragons. And then you see dragons, and then they'll blow some fire, and especially when they're battling the armies and stuff. What is it, the stepstones that they're battling, those fish people?
Yeah. Now, do you think that guy is dead?
The crab guy. He got his head cut off.
Did he though? He wore a mask. See, I honestly felt when I saw it, and. Again, I'm not talking about what we talked about first episode. This is before the continual time jumps. But I first thought when I saw that he made a deal with the crab guy, and that was a dummy body, and he was gonna have the crab guy go away for a while and maybe come back. That was honestly my first reaction. Was he's gonna use that crab guy for something else later on. But I could be wrong at this point.
That's who he was. He's Mr. Crab.
What did you think about the Mar- the marriage meeting with the child.
That disturbing. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like, you can marry my daughter. She's 9.
Yeah.
And what was she like?
Yeah, something like
11,
that. And then
14?
she's like, "Yeah, you don't have to
There's
read
been-
me till I'm mature." It's like, wait, what?
Due to the time jumps, I couldn't remember what age
Yeah.
that she said that. They said that she was.
She was
but
young. And I
King was
I'm
probably like 40 at
well.
the
See,
time.
I like how even the king kind of said something though. They
Yeah.
acknowledged it in the show, which was nice. And time period wise, it is accurate for what would have gone on for that time period.
Yeah.
That type of time period. So it just still was. It was weird. That's a weird scene. I mean, I understand why it's there, but man, that was a weird scene.
That one was pretty weird.
But,
Especially Daenerys with the uncle.
Yeah. Well,
That gets
we
weird.
know the Targaryens are all about incest.
They get weird.
Yeah, that's fair. But the Targaryens are all about incest.
Yeah.
See, I wrote down here that the crab guy wasn't dead. I got notes. Felt like I have multiple notes because this show is very interesting.
Well, I mean, in Game of Thrones, the Lannisters were too. Did you mix up the two?
Yeah, I did actually. But no, Targaryens were all about incest. But yeah, so did the Lannisters. Yeah, I did mix up the two. There's no difference between
yeah,
any of the
I mean,
houses.
you gotta expect that with Game of Thrones, I guess.
I did think it was funny when they brought her the potion that the bottle looked like the holy hand grenade of Antioch from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I'm like, it's funny some of the first impressions you get off of the visuals.
Was that the anti-pregnancy
Yeah.
potion?
I was like, the holy hand grenade of Antioch. I'm like,
Blow up your uterus, kill the baby.
man, this show has a lot of baby deaths in it. Woo.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
messed up.
I mean, that's the Game of Thrones, but yeah. Well, it's not quite the Game of Thrones, though. How do you feel about the fact that they've switched actors? I mean, kind of heard that this was happening.
I didn't like it, but it took the episode for me to understand it and actually like the characters that played it. Because I don't know, you just see the princess, well, yeah, kind of like mature in a way, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I get that.
And start to realize her role and take a more active
Well,
foot with her role, even though that she kind of still didn't want it, but then still kind of did. And yeah, I mean, near the end, she like wants that role because she knows that the queen seems like she's trying to use that for a little bit more evil.
yeah, let's talk about the queen for a second. And we're not talking about the first queen that died. We're talking about the child queen that... So first off, daddy forces his daughter to get close to the king after his wife dies. Now, for that time period, for the medical knowledge that they have, I almost feel like the king... I feel like the king probably made the right choice. It just sucked that his wife died as a result of it, but, it's often said, a parent before child. So the parent is willing to sacrifice the life for the child. So
child before parent.
That's what I said.
You said parent before child.
God, I'm just mixing up my words there. Yeah, so child before parent. That's what I meant. So sorry for the confusion.
I was gonna say you're cold.
Yeah, I am. But so I think even the mom in her right mind would have probably made that same choice if the roles were reversed. So I don't have a fault with what he tried to do. It's sad that it turned out the way it did. Again, another child death. But then the king of the hand, or the hand of the king, wow, reversey time. The hand of the king basically gets his daughter to go, cozy up to the king. I mean, it's just like, okay, so you hoard your daughter out to the king. So now she may have been too young for the role. And I'm not talking acting wise, I'm talking about political wise. She then becomes the queen, and obviously that creates strife with her former best friend. But then once she finds out that her former best friend actually slept somebody and lied to her, she acts like the whole world did her wrong. She gets so damn butthurt. She wants to take it out on everybody. She becomes the most mean, vindictive, vile person in the whole show. and actually is doing more wrong than anybody else.
Well, technically, it wasn't a lie because her and the uncle didn't do anything. Well, they didn't do anything, and they were going to, but they didn't end up doing it. The uncle actually ran away from
She lied
her.
about not having sex.
Right, but she did it with somebody else.
Yeah, but she did say she was still a virgin. But
That's true.
Yeah.
That was a lie.
Yeah.
But she still thinks that she did it.
But again, it's just like, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous how hypocritical I feel the queen is at this point. Like, she's the one doing more backstabbing, more conniving than anybody else. She's creating scenarios in her own head of paranoia of what's going on around her and having her kids pushed out and being treated a certain way. That's never even been thought up, and she's doing this all in her own head.
Her kids are brats too.
Dude, okay, so her kids. So we got Chucky, who is, I'm calling the oldest one Chucky. Anybody who's watched Sons of Anarchy, you know, as soon as I saw the kid up there, I immediately envisioned Sons of Anarchy, the Asian lady in the restaurant going, Master Beta, you leave restaurant now. Chucky. That dude's Chucky.
Aegon.
Yeah, Aegon, Chucky, Targaryen, whatever you want to call him. But there is no way in hell he let the two younger ones bully him into doing the pig joke on the one kid. That one's the mastermind. That one's the ultimate bully. That one's he's just a drunken little bully. So it's just like, he's the problem child. But the queen, of course, is like, my son's perfect. Oh my God. It's Queen Karen. That's what we got. We got a Queen Karen.
That's why that's her kids always have like babysitters in the room. Yeah. She never really sees her kids.
Yeah.
It's probably something that's in the time jumps as well.
Yeah. What do you
I haven't seen you in like 3 years.
What do you think about what happened to her youngest son?
The one that got the eye slashed?
Yeah.
I thought the way that they handled it could have been a little bit better. I mean, the one kid did deserve some kind of punishment. Because that is fucked up to lose an eye. I mean, that's a forever thing. You only get 2 of them. And then, I mean, yeah, you shouldn't have like asked to gouge out his eye, but
I mean,
the one son.
The kid did pull the knife first. The one who lost the eye pulled the knife first.
It's true.
He was getting his ass kicked by everybody else. He was an arrogant little prick.
That's what happens when you play with knives.
Yes.
For if there's any kids watching,
you'll shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you play with knives. You'll shoot your eye out. Doesn't, you'll get the reference, so it doesn't have to make sense.
Just use your fist. At least you won't lose an eye. But I don't know. It seems like the king like made the disciplinary action a little less of what it should have been. It's like, so, let's just make up and like it's just.
What was the disciplinary action? So I officially stopped watching halfway through episode 7 because I felt the show was unwatchable at this point.
Was that the episode?
That's the episode where they were dealing with it. Yeah. So because of what we talked about in part 1, I don't want to rehash the whole thing. I just felt the show turned into unwatchable and mess.
The queen wanted the eye of the kid that slashed her son's eye, and like or some like they wanted to freaking scrap right there, and basically the king said, Hear ye, you know, I'm the king. Like, I don't want any disciplinary action going against him. We need to come together as a family. I hate that their family's fighting. Let's just stop it and then, get together, get along, and, let's make this as like a lesson or something, I mean, I'm not really recollecting it probably that well.
No, that sounds like something that way it would have been done.
But it just seemed like, it's my daughter's kid that was defending himself, which was a good point. And, let's let this go. And so in the order of the king, they let it go.
Yeah, but that was his son.
Yeah, that was his.
He's kind of a pansy.
His son. What was it?
He's got leprosy and shit.
I'm forgetting. Isn't it sort of T? See, like this is the character building thing that we were talking about the last time. I'm going to draw a little bit of a negative into this. Is that the character building's so poor. It's like I don't even care to remember their names. But the king, they call him something, the peaceful whatever his name is, the king, the peaceful.
No.
And he was peaceful, and I think that's what was the only bad thing about it. But the show did have really good effects, really good characters, not really good story. No, not even a good story. It had potential of good character building. I'll leave it at that. It had good potential of character building, and then character utilization. They utilized their characters very well. The dragons were cool. The ending was. You haven't seen it yet. Well, you'll probably have to now because I have to explain it. But
I'll watch it later, I guess. I'll do the fast forward version.
Basically, the
king dies and everybody goes to war.
Well, the king dies. They're trying to discuss who is going to take the throne. So the king whispers into the queen's ear, Aegon has to be the king before he passes away, which was a true thing. His son, and what is it? The queen and the princess starts battle. The kid with the slashed eye eventually meets with the kid that slashed his eye, and I forget what island they go or what bit of land they go to because they're trying to get alliances to back them in their claims.
Mm-hmm.
So they both actually go to one person because one's trying to secure the claim, and one is trying to win the claim for the princess mother, which is in Dragonstone. And so he's there. They talk, and then the king doesn't want anything to do with him. And the one with the slashed eye is like, "I want your eye. Give me your eye." And he gets a knife and he starts going to him. But that king of that area is like, "I don't want any fighting in my house. Blah blah blah. Get out of here." So the kid leaves, and as he's flying his dragon away, the one with the slashed eye has the biggest dragon in the realm. So there's a pretty cool sky battle, and there's dragons and fire, and he meant to just toy with him, and then his dragon ended up eating the kid and his dragon. It was so big, it and then you just see wings fluttering down, and I'm like, oh snap! But the guy with the slashed eye, I don't think he meant to do it because he was like, no, he was the kid's dragon threw a fireball at the big dragon. The big dragon got pissed off and started not following the slashed eye kid's commands, and yeah, it was kind of a good twist. I liked it.
I mean, it's a Game of Thrones twist.
But yeah, little brown haired kid got eaten.
Good.
With most of the dragon, it was the tail and wings falling. That's what interests me in wanting to see the second part of what's going to be the repercussions of that and where it's going to go from there. But I think we're getting short on time. Anything else?
Yeah, we are.
Anything else? Well, I wanted to sum that up for you and for other people that are watching.
So spoiler alert, which should have been tossed out earlier.
Well, no, we're reviewing the whole
that's
show.
fair.
So it's on you that you stopped watching.
It show sucks. What can I say?
Okay, well, watch the last episode.
So based on what we talked about this time, we're talking about the effects. We're talking about stuff that you see in the world. We're talking about, things like that. How many cents would you give it?
I'm going to give it 8 cents out of 10.
Okay. I think based on everything I was seeing and stuff like that, I would have to give it... I kind of agree with the 8 because, there is a lot there that's worth seeing. I would love this show to have been paced more like the original Game of Thrones. I would love to have seen all the locales they're using and the way they're doing it and stuff. It's really awesome.
So remember, this is part 2 that we're basing this off of. We're doing different aspects. We're doing, in part 1, just the overall story, which we rated 2 out of 10.
I rated 1.
So you rated worse.
Yeah.
And then the effects, the character utilization,
the dragons,
the
and things like that,
dragons,
CG's effects
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
That's what we're talking about with our rating for this one.
For this one.
So then, overall, season 1 Game of Thrones, what sense do you give it, including every aspect?
Overall,
Your final rating.
5.
I mean, honestly 4 for me because just the time jumps just take me too far out. It just disrupts me too much from the show. There's no immersion because of the time jumps. So, but that's our 2 cents. I'd like to hear your 2 cents on either part. Let us know.
Email somewhere down there. Should have been before this or after this. Who knows?
So the kid with the eye, he's obviously an adult, right?
Yeah, he's
because I've seen
older
clips of
than
that. So does he get shaved on the side of the head?
No, he doesn't.
Fucking hell.